You ever have a memory that feels like a glitch? Like, you watch something happen, but when you try to explain it out loud, you sound like your uncle describing how the Facebook stole his password. That's Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira in Saskatoon. 1 minute they're fighting. Next minute, Oliveira's grabbing his neck, collapsing, Herb's waving it off, and half the fan base is standing there like, wait, did we just watch a main event get canceled by mystery? And now, 11 years later, we're running it back in Las Vegas. Except this time, it's not two kids trying to climb the ladder. This time, it's a BMF title fight between two guys who collect legends like trophies. What's good? It's Reggie Cross, and you're watching Behind the Lines. If you like breakdowns that don't sound like a robot reading a spreadsheet, hit subscribe, because UFC 326 has that something's gonna happen energy. Main event, Max Blessed Holloway versus Charles Du Bronx Oliveira for the BMF belt. And I'll be honest, this rematch isn't just interesting, it's unfinished business with receipts. Let's go back to the first fight, UFC Saskatoon, 2015. Holloway and Oliveira were both featherweights on the rise. Max was on a heater, Charles was on a heater, and the UFC put them in a main event spot like, all right, let's see which one of you is real. Then it ends in a minute and a half. Oliveira shoots, they tangle near the fence, and suddenly Charles is clutching his neck and shoulder like somebody unplugged his body. The ref waves it off, Max gets the win, and nobody feels satisfied, not even Max, because it didn't feel like a fight. It felt like an accident. What made it weirder? Over time, you had people around Oliveira basically saying the same thing. There was never a clean, obvious explanation. No neat little, yep, this is exactly what happened answer. So the first fight doesn't age like a normal loss. It just sits in your MMA brain like an unsolved case file. And when a fight ends like that, it doesn't feel finished. It feels paused. Now look at who these two became after that night. Max Holloway turned into Max Holloway, featherweight champion, one of the nastiest pace fighters we've ever seen. The guy who turns round 4 into a tax audit, slow, painful, and unavoidable. And Charles Oliveira? He turned into the most prolific finisher the UFC has ever had. Not one of, the guy is literally the league leader in endings, submissions, TKOs, chaos, comebacks. He built an entire Hall of Fame resume off making people panic. And now we meet at lightweight, where Oliveira became champion, and where Holloway is trying to prove this isn't just a side quest. He's not visiting lightweight, he's trying to own it. So here's the real question. How does this fight actually go? Because on paper, the numbers scream Holloway. Max is a volume monster. He lands at a rate that makes opponents look like they're fighting underwater. He throws so much that even if you block half of it, you're still catching the other half with your face. Oliveira doesn't fight like that. He's not a touch you 150 times guy. He's a give me one mistake guy. And that's why the stats can lie a little. Because Charles doesn't need to win minutes. He needs to win moments. One clinch entry, one scramble, one time you posture wrong for half a second, and now you're defending your neck while the arena volume spikes like a horror movie jump scare. Let's talk style, because this is where it gets fun. Holloway's best world is clean, space, rhythm, combinations. He gets in that flow state where he's talking to you mid-fight, smiling, pointing, and you're thinking, why does he look more comfortable getting hit than I do watching this? Oliveira's best world is the opposite. His best world is messy, clinch, knees, dirty boxing, body lock, trip, scramble. Now you're in a situation where you can't tell if you're standing up, falling down, or about to get your back taken. Charles wants it ugly early. Max wants it long and loud. That's the tug of war. And there's one major hinge point in this fight. Can Oliveira force grappling without paying a massive price on the way in? Because Max has solid takedown defense, and he's hard to just hold down. He pops up, he frames, he resets, he makes you work. But Oliveira doesn't need to control you for 5 minutes. He needs one scramble. He needs one moment where Max posts on a hand. He needs one neck exposed during a stand-up. And that's why the first 10 minutes matter so much. If Charles is getting in clean and creating scrambles early, this becomes dangerous fast. If Max is stuffing shots, keeping posture, and forcing Charles to eat combinations on the way in, now we're in Holloway territory. And Holloway territory is basically, I hope you brought cardio and emotional support. Because once Max settles, he doesn't slow down. He speeds up. That's what makes him cruel. Most guys fade in the later rounds. Max starts looking like he just clocked in. Quick pause. Drop your pick in the comments. Holloway by late TKO or decision, or Oliveira by submission or chaos. And don't just say who, tell me which round. Because everybody's confident until they have to put a number on it. Now, odds-wise, Holloway is favorite for a reason. He's the cleaner striker. He's the more consistent minute winner. He's the guy who can bank rounds by just being himself. But Oliveira is that fighter you can't count out even when he's losing. Because Charles is the rare dude who can look like he's getting cooked and still be one mistake away from flipping the whole fight. And legacy-wise, this is huge for both. Holloway wins, and you add another signature name at lightweight, defend the BMF belt again, and keep pushing toward the biggest fights available. Oliveira wins, and you get closure on the weirdest loss of your career. Plus, you take a belt off a guy who is basically allergic to boring fights. So here's my prediction, and I'm not dressing it up like I'm selling you a parlay. The most dangerous minutes for Max are the first 10. That's when Charles is freshest. That's when he's most explosive. That's when he can make the entries without being exhausted. But if Max survives that early storm and keeps his posture clean in the clinch, this starts turning into a familiar Holloway problem. You're still there, but your face is doing math. I lean Holloway late stoppage or decision. Not because Oliveira can't catch him, he absolutely can, but because Holloway's whole career is built on one brutal truth. If you let him settle, he turns your fight into his pace. And his pace is a bad neighborhood. So that's the breakdown. UFC 326, Holloway versus Oliveira 2. A rematch that started as a mystery and turned into a legacy fight. If you want the rest of the card covered, co-main, sleepers, who's about to steal the show, say the word in the comments and I'll build it. I'm Reggie Cross for Behind the Lines. If you're feeling the vibe, hit that subscribe and remember, hype fades, legacy don't. Peace. 745